Hello everybody and welcome back to another Atris Studios tutorial. Now this week we're planning on finishing out the scripting side of our weapon script. That way we don't have to worry about all that and we can actually deal with connecting to our target. We're not going to deal with the damage size just yet, but we'll get to that pretty soon. But we will be using this Cartoon FX Remaster Pack, which can be found on the Unity Asset Store. You don't necessarily have to have this. I'm just using this for a visual effect. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to head over here to our game view, and as you can see, this is just typically what we had before. Nothing really changed too much. And I'm going to pull up our code here. Now, what we left out last time was simply our targeting side of things. So the reason why I left that out is because I was thinking about all the different types of possible guns we could use, whether it's a shotgun, sniper, assault rifle, that sort of stuff. And there's many different ways that we can address those types of weapons, especially, say, for instance, shotguns with multiple shots or points where it will connect, accuracy, all that good stuff. But I decided that we're going to just go with something very basic and very simple. Because I like to overcomplicate things sometimes, at least before I even do a tutorial and all. And it's not a very good idea, especially if you're just learning how to be able to do this. So we're going to build just a basic shooting script. And then if somebody requests it inside the comments section, I will create a separate video, which will include the accuracy and, of course, the shotgun ability as well. But you have to specifically ask for that. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep moving on and we're just going to go from there. Okay, so I'm going to go over here instead of our base weapon script as before, and we're going to basically find out where we fired our shot. So if you open up the fire shot right here, we did a couple things. So we asked, of course, if our current mag ammo or current ammo is less than or equal to 0. If that's true, then we're going to basically reload and return, and we're not going to fire, right? Otherwise, we are going to fire. And this is exactly where we want to be able to apply our ray trace. So we're going to press enter a couple times past the play audio. In fact, actually, we probably should put it before the play audio because this is where we want to be able to fire our weapon. So fire our raycast, like so. So there's many different ways to be able to accomplish what we're trying to do here. We simply want to be able to shoot a target that's in front of us, that's shooting from the camera point. We could use the, I guess you could say the gun as the emitter point, and then use that as a way to be able to say, okay, so we're going to shoot from this point to that point. Or we could just simply call from the camera and then shoot from that point to wherever we're trying to hit. So I'm going to create a Raycast Hit, and we're just going to call this Hit. Okay, now this is just basically a reference to a point that we want to be able to detect, right? And then we're going to create a physics function which allows us to be able to use this Raycast. So we're going to say if physics.raycast, and we want to be able to create a Raycast. Now, normally, when it comes down to creating Raycast, you have to be able to have a certain different things ready to go. This thing is being slow for some reason. So there's many different ways you could do this, and you could scroll through each one of these till you find one that you're comfortable with. And as we could see, we have rays that we use. I personally hate using the ray method because they sometimes can get a little complicated. So we're going to find one that we like. So this one right here is quite interesting, the origin and then of course the direction, right? So let's just say that we want our transform.position to be our origin, and then our direction would be a transform.forward, and then multiply that direction by a range, right? Right now we have infinite range. We could set up a specific length to where we don't have infinite range, but I think we're just going to hard code this as infinite range just for the heck of it. mathf.infinity should be fine. We're going to go ahead and type in out hit to be able to get that inside there, and let's see if there's anything else that we're going to need here. So let's go ahead and go down, down, down. All right, this one is the one it looks like we're actually doing here, so I think that that's fine. All right, so from here, we're just going to close it out like so. And now we need to be able to basically say if we hit something, then we're going to do something. So hit.collider, or we're going to say first, if hit.collider is not equal to null, this is when we're going to do something. So let's add in a prefab. So we're going to come up to the top and let's put it right here. We're going to add in a header like so, and we're going to call this effects. So effects, and we're going to press enter. We'll do a public game object, and for this game object we're just going to say what do we want to call it? We're going to call this hit effect, like so. I think that should be fine. All right, so with this hit effect, and I need to also put that there. Yeah, there we go. With this hit effect, we're basically going to spawn it into the environment. Now, I always hate spawning and despawning objects because that could be, it could slow down your computer a lot, especially if you have a lot of things that are spawning and despawning. For now, we're going to leave it here, but I would advise to object pulling, which of course, like I said, if you want to be able to request that, we can do that. But if not, I'm just going to keep it the way it is. All right, so we're going to spawn this. So I'm going to basically instantiate, and we're going to plug in our game object. So underscore hit effect, right? And we want to be able to spawn this at a specific point. So I'm going to actually create a game object like so. So let me actually put a space inside there. And we're going to call this obj, which is equal to instantiate as game object, like so. Then we're going to say obj.transform.position is equal to, let's say our hit dot point. So whenever we hit something, it's going to spawn that object at that point. So I'm going to hit Control S, and I think everything should be fine. Yeah, everything should be fine. So let's go and test this out. This should be fun. So whenever it decides to compile, what we're going to do is we're going to find one of these effects that we like, and we're going to just plug that into the base weapon script. That way we'll be able to test it and have a really nice effect. Now the things that we want to look out for is we want to make sure first that the object actually destroys. Now the cool thing about this, these effects, these prefabs, is that they have an auto destroy script on them, right? So I didn't have to program that inside there. So if it doesn't actually auto destroy, then we're going to have to do that ourselves. So I'm going to go over to our scene view real fast, and this is just so we can be able to get a general idea as to what sort of objects we have available. So we're going to drag this inside here. Okay, that looked really cool. Let's drag this inside here. That's a little big, but let's go. Okay, number 3. Oh, it's getting bigger. I sort of like number 5. Like if number 5 was scaled down. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. So we're going to create a prefab variant if possible. I forgot if this is the newer version or the older version. No, this is 2019, so it's a little bit of an older version, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. So Control D, and we're just going to rename this, and we're going to call this, let's go underscore wep hit effect. And with this hit effect, all I'm going to do is go over to the transform, and we're going to just scale it down just a tad bit, you know, just a tiny bit. And so let's go 0.25, 0.25, and 0.25. And let's drag that inside there, see what it does. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to grab our weapon, and we're going to simply drag this hit effect inside there like so. I'm going to hit Control S, go over to our game view. We're going to hit play. And let's watch the hierarchy over here. And what we want to see is that the hit effects are going to hit specific objects, but then they're going to destroy themselves. So I'm going to shoot. So far, it's not showing them. Okay, so if we take a look at this down here, we're getting an issue, right? An issue with our get direction. Okay, so let's go over here. So it's getting an issue with the transform.forward multiplied by the mathf.infinity. So let's go ahead and erase that real fast. Comma space, and let's take a look at what we got. So we don't really want this one. Let's go down, 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 down. There it is. That's the one we want. So origin, direction, out, and then max distance. So mathf.infinity. And let's also do this. We're going to print hit.collider.name, like so. So this is just for testing purposes. If it's not displaying anything, that means it's not hitting anything, which is a problem, but we will see. All right, so it should be able to compile pretty fast. Good. Clear that up. Hit play. Let's do this again. And let's see what happens. Now, like I said, we want to first make sure that we're hitting objects. So if I shoot good, it is hitting an object. And it does destroy itself, which is good. But we're not seeing the effect, which is definitely something. Oh, okay, there's the effect. Oh, I see what's going on now. Okay. So our raycast is not hitting where we need it to hit currently. It's going down instead. All right, so let's see what we got going on. All right, so what I'm thinking it's doing is it's hitting an object, but it's hitting this object right here. But let's do this real fast, because I want to be able to see why it's not actually hitting this point. So we're going to do this, Control C. And then we're going to go over to the void update, and this is also for testing. And we're going to do a debug.draw. We could do draw ray, like so. And let's go ahead, go back over into Unity, and we're going to pull the game view down to the bottom of the screen so we can still see what's going on. But I want to be able to make it to where we can actually see everything. So let's drag that right there. So now if I press play, I'm going to be able to see where this line is. So I believe this would be our line, but let's also click there so we're not. Okay, so here's our line right there. Okay. Oh, all right. So that's interesting. Okay. So we did find the problem. So let's change this from a transform.forward. Let's see if we got our camera. We don't. All right. So at the top here, we're going to create a private transform, and we're going to call it cam. Then we're going to go over to our void start function. We're going to say cam is equal to camera dot main dot transform. Then we're going to set this cam dot position to cam dot forward, like so. And we're also going to do the same thing here, cam dot position to cam dot forward. Because what I think is going on is that the gun itself is rotated, and so what's happening is that it's aiming down instead of forward, and it's basically detecting the ground instead. So that's, yeah, let me check this. Yeah, it's rotated on the x-axis. Yeah, okay. So now if I press play, we're going to double check what's going on here and make sure that we are actually aiming forward. So, hold on. All right, so we do now have this raycast, which is aiming forward. Okay, perfect. Nice. Awesome. Well, that's all we really need to do to get the visual effects working. Great. So I'm going to pull this back up here to the top so we'll be able to visually see it. And that's all we really need right there for that. Because the weapon or the effect is actually destroying itself, which is great. Let's go ahead and reactivate our zombie real fast. So we're going to just hit this and like so. And make sure that it is going to be able to hit. Good. Up, up. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and clean up our code real fast, and then we should be Gucci, I think. Yeah. So go ahead and erase this into the void update, because we no longer need that. And go ahead and erase this print. And that's all we really need for that. And I guess technically we could do the damage script right now as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we're going to grab our zombie and let's just, I think we should go ahead and disable the zombie controller for now, because we don't really want the zombie moving at the moment. So let's do that. We're going to just disable the controller, disable the nav, and we'll keep the stat script because that's what we want. Now we want to be able to make it to where if we deal damage to this object, then we're going to activate the stat script. So let's go ahead and re-enable the zombie. We're going to find points that we want to be able to hit. So let's go find that. Go over to the head and we're going to add a component. Now this component we want to add is a sphere collider. Let's go over to our scene view and press F so we can see it. Open that up and we're going to just drop down the sphere collider to, I don't know, 0.1, 0.2 maybe. And maybe, yeah, 0.2 should be fine. We'll raise it up by about a 0.1. That way we have a little bit of a play area. Set this as is trigger, and we're going to tag this as, let's tag it as what? I got to refresh myself on our damage script because I know that things can change. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Assets, scripts, utility, damage. Okay, so target. Good. So this is going to be a tag called zombie. So we're going to add a tag, press plus, and we're going to call this zombie, like so. And then we're going to grab our head, and we're going to just tag it as zombie, like so. Grab our chest now, like this. We're going to add a capsule collider. And we're going to just scale this down, so 0.2, make this a 0.75, and then drag it down a little bit, so negative 0.1, negative 0.2, how about that? Nope, negative 0.1, that should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. So that will work right there, and we're going to also tag that as zombie, like so. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one right here, which should be inside the hand just to make sure. This is the right shoulder, right arm, right. So target tag, damage 25, good. All right, yeah, that all should work. So now what I want to do is we're going to, how do I want to do that? So I want to be able to get the primary parent, but the problem is that we have multiple different roots here. So Let's do it this way. We're going to open up the stats script real fast. Do public colliders and make it a list, and we're going to say hit targets and no. This is what we'll do. If I create a damageable part, now this is just me thinking out loud here, guys. I'm thinking if we create a damageable script, then we can send that damageable script to the stats script or assign a stats to it. Yeah, okay, we'll do it that way. That would be the easiest way, I think. So I'm going to create a script utility, create C# script, and we're going to call damageable. There we go. And we're just going to open that up. So give it a second to be able to update because that's what it does. And inside this damageable script, the ideal is simply we're going to grab the stats. So inside the beginning, we're just going to drag the stats of this zombie onto that object. So open up damageable. And we're just going to call this a public stats. And call it stats or stat parent. No, let's just call it parent. And then whenever we get hit, whenever we get hit, we're going to grab the parent and then we're going to send it to, I think that should work because we really don't need anything else except for the link. So we're going to come back over here to our stats script, and let me actually come make sure that we got that. Good, perfect. Okay, so whenever we hit the damage script, we're going to send the information to the parent, and let's also do this. Public string. What do we do here? Target tag. Yeah. Target tag. There we go. Okay, yeah. I think that should work. No, we don't need that there. We're just gonna, yeah. Okay, so let's head over to our base weapon script. So whenever we fire, we go here. We're gonna just simply say, if hit collider is not equal to null, we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna say if hit dot collider or hit dot game object. I guess technically we would have to say transform dot game object. Yeah. Dot get component, and we're going to find that component that we need, which is of course our damageable. If that's true, then we're going to basically say hit.transform.gameObject.getComponent damageable dot parent dot take damage. And we need to give ourselves the damage that we have, which should be up here. Wow, we did not actually give ourselves a method to give damage. Okay, so that's probably the first thing we should have done. Let's come up here, serialize this field, and private int called damage. And make sure that we are using integers. Good, we are. So go back over here. And for now, we'll leave that as 0. Yeah, that should be fine. So roll back down and just plug in the damage right here. So damage. That should be fine. And I guess what we could do is call damageable call it target is equal to Control X, Control V here. And then we'll simply say target.parent.take damage like that, and that should be fine. And anything else that we need to do here? We need to ask first off if the target is not equal to self. So we're just going to say if target.tag is not equal to GameObject.tag. Well, not the base weapon though, because yeah, zombies don't have it. So we're just going to say it's not equal to player, because zombies aren't going to be using they're not going to be using guns. So all right, I think that should be fine. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And like I said, I already disabled the ability for the zombie to move around or anything like that. So that should work, I think. Let's go over to the console. We're going to clear, grab our zombie. Okay, good. And I'm going to hit play. Good, the zombie shouldn't move. Why is the zombie tagged as player? Oh, that's terrible. That is terrible. And I forgot to add the damageable thing to it too. So let's add in a damageable script here. And let's also grab the chest, or yeah, the chest. Add damageable here. Grab both of those, and we're just going to drag that right there. That should work. Change that to zombie. And okay, so we're going to hit play, and hopefully everything works out the way we want it to. Normally, that's not the case. We all know how this works, but yeah. All right, so the AI shouldn't be moving, which is great. We're going to fire. And of course, our current damage is 0. Thinking out loud. So let's go ahead and up that. We're going to put our damage at 1. Grab our zombie again. Okay, so we're no longer dealing damage, or we're not dealing damage to the zombie. So we need to see why. All right, let's actually hit play real fast. And what I want to do is actually take a look at the head of the zombie, because currently what we're doing is we're shooting at the body, right? Let's actually put our damage at 10. And what I want to see is if we shoot the head. Okay, so it is actually dealing damage, but the question is, where is it taking the damage at? Man, this feels very inhumane. Okay, so let's grab our chest. It's set as zombie, which is good. And let's also grab our head. It's set as zombie, good. Okay. So if target's tag is, let's just say it's equal to zombie. How about that? Is equal to zombie, like so. Then we're going to say target.parent.take damage, which is what we want. Let's see if there's anything else that we're missing here, because it looks like it's taking damage, but it doesn't look like it's all of them are connecting correctly. So I'm thinking that maybe the capsule is not set to trigger. Yep, there it is. I was like, I knew something was off. Okay, and let's also make this a little wider, 0.25. Yeah, that should work. And the head, I believe, was set to trigger. Yep, it was. All right, so we're going to hit play again. And now it should be all right. Except I also forgot to go set the damage, because, you know, that's what we do. That's what we do. Set damage to 10. Grab our zombie. And let's go run over here. Okay, so it is taking damage, but it's not continuously taking damage, which is what it should be doing. Okay. Okay, so I found out what the problem was, and it's something very, very simple. So if I grab my zombie, remember how early on when we created the zombie, we had a Capsule Collider attached to it? Well, I forgot to go and disable the Capsule Collider, so we were ending up hiding the two other colliders, or the trigger colliders. So we were interacting with the Capsule Collider and not necessarily colliding with these other objects, which is my bad. So make sure that we assign the damage to this. Control S, grab our zombie. We're going to hit play once more. This is it, guys. It's going to work. I promise. I promise. And we're going to have it awesome. Now, what I'm thinking, though, for next week, it's probably doing something a little bit more fun with like the spawning side of things. But as you can see, we are dealing damage, which is great. And he dies, and he's gone. So perfect. So yeah, I'm thinking we'll deal with the spawning side of things next week. That way we can go ahead and get the ball rolling on the zombies and all. And I'll probably also redo the environment because I feel like this environment right here is way too high for what we want to accomplish. Especially with the frame rate dropping the way it is. So we'll probably update the environment for next week. I'll do that offline. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out some other videos. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave those in the comment section below. If there's anything you guys want to be able to learn, make sure to also leave those in the comment section below. If you have an idea for a tutorial series that you want to be able to make or want me to be able to make, go ahead and leave that down below as well. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.